Drake stans. Can only imagine what that feels like. Well, I really couldn't. But for those that didn't know, I was a big boy making big boy records when homie was on Degrassi.
What's good, y'all? iSpad is out, and the poll results are already coming in, and they are not looking good. We're not just talking about critics or haters either. Even Drake's own fans are calling it mid. People who ride for this man are saying they're disappointed.
You're just delusional and you're dick sucking, guys. This is just low energy talking. If you think this is good, you're either brain dead or delusional and dick sucking. Like, Drake's one of the greatest artists of all time. I'm not a delusional psychopath, though. If you think this is good, you're delusional and you're brain dead.
Like, people make it seem like he's making this battle his end all be all. He's like,
no. Ain't no people. He makes it seem like this battle is the end all be all.
But once you hear,
no people.
But when you hear this record, have you heard the record in full?
Yes, okay, that's the first record on the album.
When you hear this record, though, you don't feel like, okay, that stuff is there in a surface level,
No,
but it's just because he
is,
hasn't really gotten into everything else yet.
And at the end is when he mentions his father. Everything else is definitely woe is me, cry me a river. They jump me, mommy, but I'm coming back with the chopper on everybody.
They jump me, mommy.
Drop those ice cubes. Keep dropping those ice cubes. Because I'm telling you right now, they said my boy was dead and gone off of BS, off of just lying on someone's name. They said, oh, he'll never be what Kendrick is. I guarantee you this album does better than GNX. I guarantee you this album has more sales than GNX first weekend. I guarantee you this album is better than anything we will ever see out of Kendrick Lamar again.
Come on, man. Sit all the way down with that take. Like, seriously, who approved this opinion before it left your mouth? You hear this guy? He's actually out here with a straight face saying it's going to do better than GNX. Not just do well, better than GNX. I had to rewind it just to make sure I heard that correctly. Better than GNX. So let me make sure I'm following the logic here because I want to be fair. If McDonald's sells more plates in a single day than a 5-star steakhouse sells in a week, does that make McDonald's the superior restaurant? Is that what we're saying? Because they've got the longer drive-through line, they've automatically got the better food? That's the argument being made right now? You're measuring greatness by numbers alone and calling it a day? That is not how quality works, brother. That has never been how quality works. Volume and excellence are two completely different conversations, and confusing the two is exactly how you end up with bad takes like this one going viral on the internet. Now calm down, lower your voice, and actually listen to yourself for a second. The yelling isn't making the point land any harder, it's just making it louder. And look, to be fair, I'm not here to just clown the man completely. Shout out to the Speakeasy, genuinely. They run a solid platform over there, and when it comes to sports commentary specifically, they do great work. Consistent, quality content, no arguments there. But when the topic shifts from sports to this cultural conversation right here, it's painfully obvious where his allegiance sits, and that allegiance is doing a lot of the talking right now instead of the facts. And I'll say this too. Everything about how this dude carries himself suggests he grew up a long distance away from the culture he's currently speaking on with all this confidence and passion. Now, if that's the case, there's absolutely no shame in that. Real talk, shout out to his parents for raising him well and keeping him on the right path. That's genuinely something to be proud of. But maybe, just maybe, that distance from the culture is exactly why the read is this far off. You can't apply a streaming numbers-only framework to a conversation about legacy, impact, and cultural weight. It just doesn't translate. Anyway, we're not going to keep going in circles on this. Let's get back to it.
Right now, the greatest hitmaker of a generation just dropped another banger. I was privileged enough to hear a couple of songs off of this track, and I'm telling you, off of this project rather, and I'm telling you right now, get ready. If you don't like Drake, too bad. You're going.
Because right now, you sound exactly like What's the Dirt. You sound like ACT. You sound like Playboy Cardi fans defending anything with a pulse. And look, if you're genuinely on the payroll for that, we already know how this goes. That's nothing new. Plant's gonna plant, and we see it every single time. But here's the thing. If you're actually a real fan, no cap, genuine love for the artist, respect, salute to you for that. Ride for who you ride for, that's your right. Just don't come out here trying to convince people who actually have ears. People who can sit down, listen carefully, and tell the difference between something that hits and something that just exists. Don't try to sell that narrative to the ones who genuinely understand music, because they're not buying it.
If you don't mess with Drake, too bad. You're gonna be seeing him. If you don't want Drake in your eardrums, too bad. He's already penetrated. And he's gonna keep going all summer long.
What?
Fellas,
What did he say?
I'm so excited.
That's all I'm gonna say about the Iceman album versus Kendrick. It's the greatest of all time.
All right, let's get back into it. And look, I'll be up front. I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I'm a Kendrick fan. I'll admit that openly. But even putting that bias on the table, what struck me most about this album wasn't the beef aftermath, wasn't the rollout. It was the rhyme patterns, the style, the simplicity of the bars. And not simplicity in a clean, intentional way. Simplicity in a way that felt frozen in time. We're talking 2010, 2012 energy, that era of rap where the bar just needed to rhyme and sound confident, and that was enough. Lines like, I'm greater than all y'all like shredded cheese, the crib in the Bahamas is next to Jordan like I'm Lebanese. That's the level we're operating at here. That's what's being put forward as a response to everything that happened in 2024, and people are supposed to be impressed by that. Now, Drake was never known as a deeply technical lyricist. That was never really his lane, but there was always a sharpness to his pen that made it work. That sharpness feels noticeably absent here. And then on top of the writing, you've got the tone of the whole project sitting heavy in victim mentality. He's comparing his own experience to Meek Mill's now. Think about that for a second. The psychological damage from what Kendrick did to him in 2024 is written all over this album. And Kendrick literally said, they never get over it. That's what CO did. That bar is aging better by the day. Every week that passes, it hits different. So if you're a die-hard Drake fan, genuinely ride for the man no matter what. Go ahead and enjoy the album, nobody's stopping you. But maybe stay offline for a little while, because even people who were firmly in his corner are coming out underwhelmed. This isn't just critics or opposition voices talking. Rick Ross chimed in, Charlamagne Tha God chimed in, A$AP Rocky had something to say, and honestly, after waiting 10 months for a response and getting this, of course he's going to speak on it. You can't really blame him for that. Now, the one I'm really watching is Joe Budden. That reaction is going to be something else entirely, especially considering how many people in that circle are quiet Drake supporters who just don't say it out loud. We'll see how honest that conversation gets when the cameras are rolling. And then there's the usual suspects doing what they always do, full glaze mode, zero critical thought. Do I even need to say it at this point? You already know who. But here's where I land overall. I'm not in the Drake camp. I made that clear from the jump. So when I'm rating this thing a 3 or maybe a 4 out of 10, you could reasonably bump that up a point or two if you're a genuine fan going in with love for the artist. Fan goggles are real, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just be honest with yourself about what you're doing. What I will give him credit for, and this part is real, dropping 3 projects to fulfill his deal with Lucian Grange and UMG and get out of that contract, that was a calculated, smart move. Now he's a free agent. He can go wherever he wants, work with whoever he wants, build something completely on his own terms. The problem is that strategy had nothing to do with the actual sound of the music, the producers he chose, the sonic direction, the creative execution. A lot of that felt disconnected. He leaned heavily into unknown emerging producers, which is genuinely a great opportunity for those artists. But from a listener standpoint, from an ear perspective, it may have contributed to why the whole thing feels underwhelming to so many people who came in expecting more.